Welcome to The Lady Killers, a feminine rage podcast. Hello and welcome to The Lady Killers, a feminine rage podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer's Body Adams, and if you've listened to this episode or the Losers Club before, you probably know that I have 2 children, and for a long time, I was very averse to any kind of movies where children are in danger or die. And my friend actually brought that to my attention when we were going to see It, and it was her first interaction with the story, and she was like, aren't there a lot of child deaths in this? And I was like, yeah, but I know this story.
Yeah, but it's cool in this one. It's cool. Especially the child death in this one isn't that bad.
It's cool. Yeah. But Pet Sematary, like, I could not read that. I couldn't finish it for years. And then I kind of, as my kids got older, I got more used to sending them out into the world on their own. I got over it. I also went into a nihilistic phase where I was like, give me all of the punch me in the face movies. I love it. But the movie we're talking about today, I had been avoiding.
Yeah.
Because it seemed real dark. I got a couple of spoilers, although not exactly. Like, I was thinking something totally different, which I'll tell you.
Really? I always like to hear what it is that you go
I know,
in,
I'm so excited to hear.
It's always something that I'm like, wow, I wouldn't have gone that route.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, if you don't see the preview, you really do get, like, the
And I did not
advantage.
see the preview. Yeah. So today, because vacations are continuing to go wrong, y'all just don't travel anywhere, is what I'm saying.
Don't go.
Don't.
Today, we are watching the original Speak No Evil from 2022. And I was going to try to, I figure it's Danish, right? I was trying to kind of clock the
Yes.
languages, but there are a lot of different languages.
There are a few different languages, but the movie is Danish. And I learned that because on Reddit, someone corrected someone else about it. So I was like,
okay. Gotta love those Reddit correctors,
That's
you know.
that's where they thrive.
Yep. But I'm not alone. I have a fabulous panel of Lady Killer vacationers with me. Rachel, say hello and tell us, do you enjoy a road trip?
Hi, Rachel Reeves here. You know, I do enjoy a road trip. It's a great opportunity to make a playlist, have some fun music. That's the caveat. I gotta be in control.
Yeah.
Old school set, like the aux cord
You
is
don't
mine.
like it when
don't touch-
Play Aiken is
When
played
Jen
on
plays Play Aiken over and over again.
No, that is fine because that is a memory.
Special
You don't have to laugh.
Yeah.
A treasured memory for all times. But like if I'm driving, like that radio is mine.
Yeah.
mhm.
Because you got to keep the energy up and that sort of stuff. And I've gone on a lot of road trips. Idaho is a really beautiful place, and there's a lot of places just not that far away. Because it's like you can take 45 minutes and you're on a ski hill. You can take an hour and a half and you're in the Sawtooth Mountains, you know? So it's a great place for a good road trip. I will say, you know, driving through certain states is less pleasant than others. So it depends, you know,
sure.
it's like where
Ooh,
you're
boy,
going.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
like, I'm sorry, like Wyoming, it's very flat.
I
and
couldn't
like,
even gun to my head tell you where that is on a map. I'm going to be honest with you.
I'm pretty sure it's north of me is
Okay.
what I do know. There was a state that
It
is
is?
near Tennessee, and I'm not going to name and shame, but we drove through it a lot as a teen, and it was just like, this state smells. Like, it just stinks.
Oh,
the
stinky
entire time
state.
you're there. Yeah,
Oh.
stinky state.
Man.
Stinky state. Makes me feel bad. I'm sorry. Oh, well, Sammy, say hello and tell us, do you enjoy a road trip?
This is Sammy Road Trip in Rothman. And yes, I adore a road trip. I did them often in my youth. Growing up in Sacramento, we would drive down here to Disneyland like almost every year. So I always knew when I would get to those, you know, those weird like lions by the mall that are like,
yeah,
you know
by
what
the
I'm talking
Citadel
about?
Mall.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
That's how I knew. I was like, we're fucking close. We're so close.
Yes.
And then every time I would stop in Santa Ella for the Anderson's Pea Soup, that's like my favorite spot. I've made Mike stop there multiple times. And, you know, living here, we just have no shortage of places to go.
To road trip.
I also love to sing while I road trip, so I need to know every song. Like, it's like that Tommy Boy scene is, you know, when like they both know the words to the song, or like every song that's on the radio. That's me. Like, I will not enjoy myself unless, like, if you put a new music on that I've never heard, I'm like, this isn't going to work for me because I need to sing. This is my time to shine. Also, Mike and I have discovered on these 7-hour road trips that I make him take to my family because I hate flying, and it's nice to have a car while we're there.
Mhm.
We've been listening to podcasts a lot during our road trip, and it is like putting on a movie, and it makes those
Mhm.
hours go by so
yeah.
fast.
Yep.
So I highly suggest that to anyone. If you can find like a really good audiobook series,
Yes,
something like
audiobook.
on Audible, which they do really cool ones. I remember I listened to the Sandman one on a flight, which was really good. But those are like full blown like cinematic movies. You just have to use your noggin instead of
Mhm.
seeing with your eyes. But
Yeah.
yeah, I love a good road trip. I have many in my future.
Well, Shelby, say hello and tell us, do you enjoy a road trip?
Hello, Shelby Novak here. And yes, I do. Like Sammy, grew up in California, except we grew up on opposite sides of California.
Mhm.
So yeah, we would like travel to each other. I had
Yeah.
family up in Sacramento, so we would go north. And there's just an endless amount of road trips. I don't know. I guess we have a road tripping culture here.
It is,
Like,
yeah.
not that you don't everywhere else in the country, but like it really, I feel like growing up, like everyone did it. And I remember one in particular. We were driving up to my cousin's, I think in Washington, like in Seattle, like so all the way down. And I'm from like the very bottom of
That'll
California.
take you
So
a few days.
the
for
whole
sure.
length. So
Yeah.
and like this was like the late 90s, and my dad had the weird forethought. This is before there were like, screens in cars.
Yeah.
He got one of those VHS TVs and
Nice.
figured out how to hook it up in the car. And we would I remember my brother just watching Adam Sandler movies over and over and over
Perfect.
again. And it was like Velcroed to a cooler. This is so like 90s innovation.
He MacGyvered it. I love it.
Yeah. Like it was Velcroed to a cooler. So we had the cooler full of stuff and it's just some of my happiest memories. Like stopping at In-N-Out at like 2 a.m. because like my dad needed to like pull over and sleep. And it's so funny because my dad was like the driver. My mom hates driving. They had a really bad accident when they were younger, and it's like she's like freaked out by driving. And so now I've become the driver. Like I've gone on so many road trips as an adult, and I drive. I'm usually the one who drives. Like I just drive and
pass to you.
yeah, it really was. Like I can drive until the cows come home, and I love it. It makes me so zenned out. I'm like Rachel, where it's like, but I have to be in charge of the music because I am the driver, so I have to be in charge of the music. And so like, yeah, I absolutely love road trips. I love all the weird stuff you see. I love a middle of the night road trip where like
me
you
too.
just they're strange and it feels like you're in between dimensions. Like no one's supposed to be up right now. No one's supposed to be traveling. And it's so, I love a road trip so much. So yes, love it. What about you, Jen? Are you a road tripper?
Also love a road trip. Yes. Corey will not fly. Ever since we got married, I've probably told this story. Yeah. Well, he would before we got married. And now
something about
won't.
the marriage really made him not want to fly anymore.
Because we signed that paperwork and he was like, now I don't have to pretend anymore, So
I like flying.
I have things to protect.
Yeah.
Look at it
Oh,
that way.
I love the idea, like in the vows, like, and now we're never gonna fly on another plane again.
Although we did have to get home right after the vows, but yeah, and I mean, if it were, he would have. I really needed him to, like, would get, and I'm gonna get him back to Hawaii.
Did he see something
sometime.
on the wing of the plane back from Hawaii?
Was this a Twilight Zone type of situation?
No, but he does also not like. I don't know what the flying thing is, but he doesn't like to drive on the interstate because he got in a wreck one time in like at 1 a.m, and the car was just stopped. And he just slammed into the back.
Oh my God.
So like he doesn't like to. He's a very safe driver, which is good. Except I'm always in a hurry. But yeah, I love a road trip, which is good because Corey won't fly anywhere. So every time we go on vacation, we have to drive. And I grew up on road trips too.
Driver, so cute. It's just
really
like a movie trope. It's adorable.
I know. I'm like I'm surprised I haven't died like 20 times because I'm like a tailgater. Like I'm a road rager. Mrs. Todd, I like her for a reason. But in Tennessee, we are within a day's drive of 3/4 of the country. Wow. So we always it was pretty accessible to go to a whole bunch of places. I don't really care about the music as long as it's not awful, but I don't want anyone to talk to me because I want to read. That is my thing. I don't want to drive. I want to read in the car.
Jen. Like
I can't read in the car.
I need to. I can't read in the car either. But like,
I get sick.
I need to know knowing that you played Clay Aiken on a loop for Rachel, and you're saying I can deal with the music as long as it's not bad music. Like I need to know.
I know it when I see it. Maybe it's just music I'm not in the mood for personally.
Yeah, got it.
Corey has a playlist that I call Screamy Boy Music because it's a lot of but early aughts. Boy
the best
music.
It's the best.
It's speaking of boys, we just had a
Cameo.
boy infiltrate.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no one else in my family can read on a road trip too. So when my kids get antsy, I'm like, read a book. And they're like, I'll throw up. I'm like,
Yeah, you read
What's to
in
be
Maine
you?
in the back
I did.
seat.
And I almost threw up then
you
because I was
did.
reading on my
Always
laptop.
wish
That
I
was
could
the
read in the
problem.
car. I would
I
get
know,
so much
I never
reading
have.
done, but
I
like
can't.
I
Yeah.
just can't.
Oh, I
Oh.
love it. It's my
Barf
favorite
City,
thing.
bitch. I can't. Like,
Barf
it's
City.
not
I
gonna
have
happen.
thrown up on
Even
road
with
trips from
Dramamine.
trying.
Like, I could shoot
Yeah.
up Dramamine and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking reading in the car.
Oh man, I
Yep.
love it. I even when we're going out to
Lucky
eat, I'll
gal.
bring a book and like.
That
my
doesn't
gosh.
surprise me.
Yes, I do always have a book on me, sometimes too. Well, the people in this movie don't have a book on them, and that probably would have saved their life, honestly.
Yeah,
So
that was all they
that's,
needed.
again, why you always have a book in your purse and throw a bunny out the window. Side note, a bunny ate all my mint this week, so fuck
Oh man,
bunny.
you're really
We're
on
really
bunnies' asses then this week.
anti-bunnies.
Yeah,
I am anti-bunny
wow.
this week.
Fuck
Look,
that
they're
bunny.
cute, but at what cost, you know?
They
At what
shit a
cost?
ton and they hump a
do.
lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's talk about bunnies and the bunnies we love and the bunnies we hate. In our first category, her story.
I am so much happier now that I'm dead. Technically missing. Soon to be presumed dead. Gone. And my lazy, lying, cheating, oblivious husband will go to prison for my murder.
And this is a section where we tell the story of the film. Spoiler. I don't know if you muted yourself. It
I
was
did
just like-
not.
That was such a quiet interaction.
Oh. So this is the section where we tell the story of the film. Spoilers abound, so listen to your own risk. Bjorn and Louisa are a Danish couple vacationing in Tuscany with their daughter, I'm going to say Agnes. Because
Please,
I don't
can't.
think
I
I
was
could
trying to say it like them while I was watching it, and I just
Yeah.
can't.
Yes. I can't.
I can't do
It's
it.
not
I
gonna
have to
happen.
cut
You
my
don't have
tongue
the
out to
throat
do it.
goat like ability, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did discuss how throaty I am recently on a podcast. I forget which one it was.
It was
Last
Mortal
night,
Kombat.
yeah.
Mortal
Yeah, it
Kombat,
was
that's
Mortal
right.
Kombat,
Yes. Yeah. Stay tuned to hear more about that.
Yes.
So they're vacationing with their daughter, Agnes. At the villa, they meet a charming Dutch couple named Patrick and Karen, who are also vacationing with their son, Abel. I'm going to say Abel. They hit it off thanks to Patrick's well-timed love bombs and exchange addresses. After they returned home, Bjorn and Louise accept an invitation to stay with Patrick and Corinne at their home in the Dutch countryside. They're promised windmills and walking. The trip gets off to a rocky start when Patrick insists Louise, who is a vegetarian, mostly, eat some of the wild boar he's roasting. Agnes is also not super thrilled to be sleeping on the floor, but they vow to make the best of it.
I'm
Patrick
already fucking mad, you guys. I just
Oh, dude.
all of it.
yeah.
I'm so fucking mad.
I need, like, when I'm traveling, I don't like to know. Like, I'm a
Yep.
little bitchy princess when it comes
too.
to how we are traveling, okay?
Mhm. I
Not
need my
gonna
space.
fly for a second. Like, this
Mhm.
will never happen to me because this would never happen.
I don't think this
Exactly.
could happen. I was thinking about all of you, and I was like, this would never happen to any of the.
No.
I'm not going to
killers,
stay in
no.
a stranger's house. I did
No.
that in high school on choir tours. Never
On the
again.
floor. I will go
the
into
floor.
credit card debt to stay in a hotel before I
Mhm.
sleep on some fucking
Sleep in my
stranger's
car.
floor. Yeah, done.
Mm-mm,
No.
mm-mm.
I would have thrown the postcard away, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
same.
I would have assumed it was a bill and it's
Mhm.
gone.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
That's
not
why you
even
don't
being
answer the mail.
read. Yeah.
So Patrick continues to cross boundaries, and they learn that Abel has a congenital disability involving his tongue. It's really short, and that's totally why he never talks and cries all the time. There's absolutely nothing wrong. After a particularly egregious double date, Louise finds Agnes sleeping in Patrick and Corinne's bedroom. I kept trying to figure out how to classily write the fact that he's naked in this
very
room.
Don't
strange.
even
It's
just
all-
say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
He's
you
naked.
can
The
assume.
nude grown man.
Yep.
Yeah.
In
with
bed
the
with
little girl on the floor. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong here, right?
Which I
This is
did
fine.
read. I will say the actors were very uncomfortable with like filming this stuff. So like they
I
almost
believe
dropped
it.
out of this
That's good to
because
hear.
of like scenes.
I did
like
read
this,
that it was
so.
hard for him to cast this couple because people were
Yes.
like,
Yeah, we'll get into it. I read the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet. So this is understandably the last straw, and the family packs up and leaves in the middle of the night. But on the way home, Agnes realizes she's left her
This
fucking
bitch.
stuffed bunny back at the terrible house. Bjorn can't stand to see her upset, and turns around, only to find that the fucking bunny was under the seat the whole time.
I want
My
everyone to
head
know Jen has this
exploded.
in all caps in her notes,
I
as
do.
it should be.
I
Yes.
just like, I know that I've talked about how like shitty my parents are and like, not perfect, but like, I don't think any parent should have turned around for this stuffed animal given the
Fuck.
situation.
No.
Good
This is a
parents
learning
should not have
lesson.
done
This is like a learning time, right? Like, Jen, you're a
Yes.
mom. Wouldn't this be like a learning time of like, hey,
Absolutely.
be more responsible with your
Yes.
items?
Yeah, or you know what? Yes, this sucks, but you have
But we're
to
in
weigh the
danger,
cost.
girl.
Or just
Yeah.
this is an emergent. Like, sorry, unfortunately, we have to go now.
I'm
And
in
they're
danger.
gonna be
Grandpa's
fine.
dying back home. We gotta
Yes,
call.
we
Like,
gotta
But
go.
Exactly.
also brilliance of the nuances of this film that we can get.
Yeah.
Because the way
really
it was
is.
set
No.
up.
The
Yeah, so
reason
a
I'm
very
mad isn't
smart
because
movie.
I love this movie, and it's
Oh,
the
yeah.
fact that it pisses me off so hard.
I know.
It's just
Needs-
a credit to it. So
it's
much.
doing its thing. Yes,
I know.
absolutely. So Patrick and Corinne convince them to stay, and all seems well. It's totally fine now.
Huh?
Bjorn and Patrick even have a bonding moment when Patrick introduces Bjorn to the power of expressing your emotions while also being a man. But the transgressions continue. Hearing strange noises at night, Bjorn explores the house and finds a bunch of ominous pictures in an upstairs attic that seem to imply that they've done this before and maybe Abel is not their son. When Bjorn finds him drowned in the pool, he decides it's time to go. Does not say a word about what he's seen.
Again.
Doesn't say anything.
Mhm.
Not a word. But
It
you
caused
know
a
what? The
ruckus,
mom
you
didn't
know?
say shit about him sleeping next to her naked, but
Yeah.
she didn't say it until later. So why we're
Communication.
just a family
People.
of secret keepers here.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
No one's getting to the brass tacks of the situation,
Oh,
and that adds to my anxiety level while watching this.
what the fuck? Once again, they flee in the middle of the night, but Bjorn winds up stuck on the side of the road and leaves Louise and Agnes in the car while he goes to find help. While he's gone, Louise calls Karen and Patrick to come pick them up. Also in all caps. I'm sorry, listeners, I'm yelling at you because
But
I'm
she had her
enraged.
own like bad experience. So like
Yes.
regardless if he said anything or not, like why are you calling these creepy, crazy people that you are escaping from in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
Like
I do kind of like that they both did this too.
Yeah.
though, you know,
Yes.
like it
Yeah.
balances
Yeah.
it. Like they kind of
Yeah.
are meant
they're
to
both
be.
fucking
you know?
stupid.
no,
Exactly.
literally by the end, I was like, you all deserved this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Even the girl who asked for the bunny, okay?
especially her.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially you.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Oh, yeah. And we're going to
Agnes.
talk about it because I just, oh my God. So Bjorn knows that this is not good and begs Patrick not to hurt his family, but it's too late. Patrick
Please
drives
don't hold
him.
my family, mean
Please don't
man.
hold my
Like,
family. Please don't do it.
Please.
I know. Patrick drives to meet Muhajid, the babysitter, who holds Agnes while Karen uses scissors to cut out her tongue. He drags the child out of the car while Patrick drives Bjorn and Louise away. At the rock quarry, where they had their male bonding moment, Bjorn asks why they're doing this. Because you let me, Patrick says. He orders them to strip, and then he and Karen stone Bjorn and Louise to death. Later, Patrick and Corinne drive up to another idyllic vacation spot with a silent Agnes in the back seat.
Oh, God.
Ooh.
you just want to jump through the screen the whole movie.
Oh, like, just gives me so much anxiety. Like, I know we've
Yeah.
talked about movies like this before where it's just like, oh, my nails are
Oh yeah, same. I
gone.
know. Rachel and I, we have like the nail biter like spectrum of movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell when something's really getting under my skin.
Yeah.
When I'm just like picking up my nails the whole
Picking,
entire
yeah.
time, and this is one of those movies.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God. I felt so triggered by this movie.
Yeah.
So did I.
I did too.
Oh my
Ooh, 'cause
God.
I'd never seen this before. Okay, so let me tell you what I thought was going to happen.
Oh yes, please, Jen, you go first because I need to know. First
Okay, I
watch.
think it was partly because, like, I knew it was not going to end good. Like, I knew it was going
Yeah.
to be dark. I remember when it came out, everybody was talking about it. Everybody was really excited because it was like kind of a really dark nihilistic movie. And I love this, but I think it's partly because of the poster with the car and the
Yeah.
fact that I love Sinister. I thought they were going to be burned alive in their car.
I could see that because their hand, it does look, and
Yeah.
it's like kind of fiery
That would have
behind
been
them.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been down with that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So it's like this, man, this ended because this was the first watch for me. I mean, if you haven't figured that out, I like just sat and kind of stared at the wall for about 5 minutes after
Yeah.
this because, man, I was really triggered by this movie in a good way because I think it helped me like exercise some demons, you know, and kind of like think through. And we
Sweat it
may
out a
talk
little
about
bit.
some of them on this episode,
Yeah.
but because I think everybody knows someone like Patrick and Corinne, you know, it's like we've all
Well,
been in this
Or
experience.
someone's, you know, sometimes there are multiple of them that
Yeah.
you'll
or
know.
yeah, or just people we haven't said what we really wanted to say, or you know, the people
Absolutely.
pleasing part of it. I
Yes.
think
Uh-huh.
it's like
Yeah, I
we've
think we
had
can
people
all
we've been
see each
scared to say
Absolutely.
something to them.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really
yeah.
since birth for me, because
Well,
I was always
yes,
afraid
same.
to tell my mom what I thought, you know, or dad. Like, so it's like, it becomes this thing of like, you don't know until you give it like more time. The more time you are with that person, then you're like, oh, this is not someone I can share my real feelings
Yeah,
with,
I had
you
an
know?
experience with a couple that like reminded me so much of them, and it was with my ex-husband. And watching this movie the first time, I remember being like, "Oh my fucking god, this was him. He
They
was
were going to
Bjorn."
stone us.
Like
Yeah.
it wasn't it, like
Yeah.
yeah, like we showed up at this like couple's house for their like baby's first birthday. He had been friends with the guy like for a while, and I had never met them, and I was like, "Oh my god, I've heard so much about you." And immediately they started saying like weird shit just like in this movie where it was like
Mhm.
the wife was like, "I didn't even know he was married." And I was like, "How
Oh,
did you not?
perfect. Thanks.
You
Oh my
invited
God.
me." Like,
Mhm.
and she did, like I had proof she did, and she would
Mhm.
say weird stuff like that. And then like the husband brought me into this room where he had this like trophy room full of like Trump shit, like hidden away in his like, and he was like, and he brought me in and then
This is
turned
like the
to me
American version of this.
and
Yeah.
like shut the door and was like, "Do you have a problem with all this?" And I was like, "What the fuck?"
No,
And
but
he
I have
like,
a
and it
problem
was
with you
just
being
like
weird. Also,
it was
yes.
just me and
Yeah.
him. Like he was like, "I'm gonna give you a tour of the house," and like brought me to that room and was like, "Do you have a problem with this? Because if you have a fucking problem with it, then just fucking deal with it." And I was like, "What the fuck is happening?" And like
Yes.
I remember like a few like so much happened during this weird little first birthday party for a child that like I remember just going to the front yard and being like, "I got to get out of here." And I was
Yeah.
I went to the front yard. I kind of cried. And I texted my husband at the time and I was like, "We gotta go. Like, what the fuck is happening
time to
here?" And I remember
leave.
him just being
Irish
like,
goodbye.
just blind to it. And then like
Mhm.
later on, it turned out, of course, they were like freaks for a bunch of other reasons, like
Mhm.
then other than just the reasons that
I mean,
just
they were
listed.
Trump supporters, so you don't have to take much
Exactly.
to convince me.
But yeah, like they were
Mhm.
like lying about like their whole lifestyle. It was a whole thing. But anyway, it was just like, and I remember like sitting in the car on the way home, just like, and I didn't know why I was so upset, but it was like this kind of situation where I was like,
Yeah.
this was like dangerous. Like these types of people, like obviously, I don't think they would have taken us to a quarry and stoned us to death. I will say,
Yes.
but like
But people
was
who
a-
thrive on making others uncomfortable or know and they like to push it are dangerous.
yes.
Yes.
And then the idea that like the
Mhm.
person who's supposed to at least help protect you, like, or at least be there with you was like not on your level, like is not seeing it and you
Yeah.
feel crazy and was like, how did you not, like he fully was like, didn't see anything wrong with what was happening. And I was just like, I felt like I
Just,
was
like-
going insane. And it was like watching this movie, watching these two fucking people not be on the same level while this
Yeah.
guy, and then that last line of him being like, "Because you let me," like,
Oh yeah.
ah!
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
sure.
know.
It's
it
like
really
Guy and Rosemary's Baby, you know, when it's
Yes.
like when you're gaslight, like that thing of like, no, everything
Yes.
looks kosher over here.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Shelby, when did you first watch this movie?
It was like it was like little while after it came out. Like it was definitely like, I don't even know if it went to theaters here. It may have for a little bit, but like it was after it was out. I think I rented it or something. But I was like everybody else where I did hear whispers about like, this is the bleakest movie
Mhm.
you'll ever see. And I love bleak movies. I
Yeah,
like
me too.
nihilistic movies a lot. And I had and going into this, like, of course I knew it was going to be like upsetting just because the subject matter was upsetting. I got a few things spoiled for me. I knew like the little boy wasn't their real son. Like,
Mhm.
unfortunately, I just had some stuff spoiled for me. But I had no idea, even knowing things, how upsetting this movie would be in so many
Yeah.
different ways.
Yeah.
Where it was like I can see why, and I'm sure we'll get to it at some other point. I prefer this one over the American version, but I can see
agree.
why the reasons they changed the American ending.
Yeah.
I can see why they did, because this is so absolutely like different cultures being
Yeah.
shown in different
sure.
ways. Because I will say, as an American watching it, it was like I didn't understand. I had to read further after watching it, like these, like the reason culturally why their actions even made sense. I had no
Mhm, yeah.
idea until watching this. This was like a thing that's like, hey, this is actually kind of a problem over here. Like,
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could never.
mhm.
Whew. Well, Sammy, what's your story with Speak No Evil?
So actually Mike was watching this and I came in like kind of halfway through because I was like, I didn't really want to watch a foreign film because I was not in the mood to read. Like I was like, I don't really, but then I realized that a lot of it is in English,
A lot of it's
so
in
I was
English,
getting
yeah.
hooked no matter what. And then by the end, I just remember it ending and like the credits rolling and I looked at and I was like, okay, like, what do you want to go do? And like, even when I told him I had to rewatch it this time, he was like, have fun. Like I watched it by myself, in the middle of the day, 2
Yeah, me
days
too.
ago. Just because I kind of wanted to get it over with. I'll be honest with you. I do love this film. I do think it is better than the American version. If you were anywhere when the American version was coming out, you probably saw that trailer 50 gajillion times, just like I did every time I went
what a
to the
marketing
movies.
campaign.
I went to Universal several times while we were there, and every time we took the tram, I had to watch that commercial. And
I almost beat No Evil Hat because they sent one.
Honestly,
I should have worn it.
They did a lot of marketing.
Oh
they
my
put a lot
God.
of money into that movie, and I think it's funny that that the American version actually has a higher score than than this version, like an audience score, and that makes total sense. We cannot handle dark endings. So while I do think the original is the better film, us Americans don't think that for the most part. But I love this movie. I really, really loved it, but it is not one that I love to revisit. And I'll be honest, like, really don't want to probably ever again. I think this will be, unless like I have to, someone's like force feeding me this movie, I don't think I could do it again. The very rare, great Shudder original, but it is produced by IFC, so that's probably why.
I like IFC.
I talked a lot about it before on the pod on many episodes, but movies like this give me a lot of anxiety. The idea of social niceties and people pleasing, even when a boundary is being crossed, all to save face, has been a major like thread throughout my life. And thankfully none of it has been to this extent, but it is still something I am working on with other people. Because I think that I have a sign on my head that says like, treat me like garbage, please, because I will take it and I'll like it. Like that's basically what I feel like a lot, because a lot of times something will happen to me and I will express that I did not like the thing that happened, and for whatever reason they don't agree that I didn't like it. I shouldn't have liked it. So that's always really fun when someone tries to tell you that you're wrong for your feelings. My favorite, love that, because they're the one feeling the feeling. It's awesome. But I did have a couple of little dumb thoughts that I had while watching the movie. First one, if there are empty chairs and someone asks to sit next to me, I'm irritated already. I'm already mad at you. So the friendship would not be flourishing when a man saw all of those empty chairs and was like, is this seat taken? I'd be like, actually it is, because there are 5 other chairs that you could have taken and you don't have to sit next to me.
It's the watcher in the movie theater where he goes and sits down right behind her.
Or the guy at the pool that used to talk to you. That's
what
I
Papa
think
Jim.
of. Yes. Papa Jim. It's exactly like PJ. So I couldn't handle that. Also, crunchy ass parents won't give their kids some apple juice. I think you're taking your kid to go stay with strangers and sleep on the floor, but it's the apple juice that's sending you over the edge. Can't handle it. Stop. Get out of here. If you're a crunchy parent, let your kid cut it with water or something. Yeah. Give them the nice pleasures of life. You guys we don't live long enough to take away apple juice. I think that rule number 1, even though I do not have kids, about having kids, and I can say this because I am one, let's not bring the beloved stuffed animal on any vacations. I think that's a no-no thing. My niece is not allowed to bring Butters, her cow, anywhere. She anytime we're on vacation with her, she just sits there and talks about Butters and how much when we're in San Francisco, she was like, I'm just thinking about when I'm gonna see Butters. And I was like, he's gonna be home. You're gonna see him. Fine. It's gonna be okay. But their dad is always like, no, we do not bring Butters on trips, because if something happens to that fucking little cow, she'll have a conniption fit. She will freak out. So, and most kids will, and I will. Mike says I'm not allowed to bring Pan and Maymay anywhere. And trust me, I would.
And that's the thing. If you bring it on the trip and you lose it, it's gone.
It's your fault. And we're not replacing it. And it is a horrible feeling. So, and then you might get stoned to death if you do it. So let's not do that.
Or get your tongue cut out.
Yes.
So, and now you get a new mom and dad.
Yeah,
So
for a
let's-
little bit.
why
For a
don't you
little
make the
bit.
trip like a place where you buy a new stuffy, and then that
Mhm.
stuffy gets to go on the trip with you, and then come home and it's traveled
Exactly.
really far. So, little tip for parents, I think, from someone who doesn't have kids but actively is in Arrested Development for the rest of my life.
But you understand Stuffy's better than most. So.
Thank
Oh,
you,
yes, that's
Rachel.
true.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Rachel,
If I don't say so myself,
You're
I'll
a
take that
stuffy
compliment.
expert, so.
Yes.
yes.
I hate to, fluff my own feathers, but yeah, I definitely can agree with that. I think this is also a classic case of let's not go to a second location. Let's just hang out at the villa. Let's be the bombshells at the villa, but not go to the casa. You know what I mean? Like, let's not go to the second location. You guys are fucking stupid. Also, no amount of politeness would have me letting my kids stay with some strange fucking man who babysits the rest of the kids who doesn't speak English. Excuse me, fucking
Yeah.
the like your kids you're not giving them apple juice, but so they can stay with a
That's
possible
what
molester.
all I thought of the whole time. I'm like, okay, so
Yes.
how do you live with yourself if your kid gets molested and you
Yes.
just didn't want to be rude? That's
Yeah.
why.
Yes.
Like,
And that's
couldn't
not to say
stand
that
it.
men can't be babysitters, but
No.
you don't know this man.
But
This
as a
man showed up. You
parent,
didn't even know
yes,
they were
exactly.
babysitting.
I was left alone with a lot of
Yeah.
strange people as a kid. Trust me,
Yeah.
it's not a good thing. Don't do it. It's just don't do
Mhm.
it. Like, you should have a trusted person watch your children, like especially in a
or
foreign
if someone
land.
switches you of like,
Yes.
we're going to dinner, and then it's like, actually, the kids aren't coming. It's like, again, it's every step of this movie. Again, it is a lot of
Mhm.
like cultural divides of just like growing up here as opposed to there, where it's like, because here we're just like, why would you do that for the whole
Yes.
movie?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
And that's how
Yeah.
I felt. I mean, like, I just kept feeling like they keep helicoptering their daughter, but they're
Mhm.
not taking the necessary steps to make sure that she's really safe,
Yeah.
And then my last one was when I wrote the discomfort of driving with someone who shouldn't be driving, I think is a universal experience, like a canon
Yeah,
event
definitely.
for a lot of
Mhm.
people. Back, in the back of a fucking Honda Civic when I was 15, 16 with guys that are 20 that are driving us around smoking blunts and shit. Not good. Probably shouldn't have made it this far. But like
Mhm.
that scene in particular when he's like turning up the music and driving really erratically, I know I've been the girl in the back who's been like, I should not be in this car right now. So that
Mhm.
was a little, not, I wouldn't say triggering for me, but it was another emotion that I felt that I was like, oh, I felt this emotion before.
Yeah.
So yeah, this movie is a lot. It's a lot. It is a lot for me because of my people pleasing tendencies, and it's kind of a slap in the face for someone who has people pleasing tendencies, because it's like
Yeah.
you see this and you're like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. Maybe it's better for me as a person and for my survival to actually occasionally put my foot down. But
Yeah.
as I will talk about in this episode, sometimes in life it doesn't do anything and ends up also making you feel worse. So
Mhm.
it really just depends on the person that you are sharing the information with, and
Yep.
their response will tell you if they're a good person or not.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Well, Rachel, what's your story with Speak No Evil?
I'd heard tale of Speak No Evil, the original one. But, I think for that reason, kind of held off on watching it until we heard about that there was a remake coming. And I was like, well, that was fast.
Yeah.
And was very intrigued by that idea that like, oh, we're doing an American version of this movie so quickly after this came out. So I wanted to see the original before I saw the new one, because I wanted to know what the changes were, because I knew there would be some, what we were working with. So saw it around that time. And yeah, it's bleak. It's a real bummer. It's a real summer sad movie. But also, but I like that. And I like how it takes its time. And it is interesting on a rewatch too, just catching how a few things kind of relate to later events. You can kind of see how these people, Karen and what's her husband's name, Patrick, how they're kind of like, you can tell that they're testing them. And sort of setting them up to see how they react, kind of to see like, are they going to be good candidates for
Absolutely.
this scheme that we're trying to pull off?
Mhm.
And how you can just now, once you know what happens too, just be like, oh, bro, you are failing at every
Yes.
turn. Like, he gave you opportunities to basically see if you would be amenable to the situation, and
Yeah.
you failed.
You failed. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is also like in some ways affirming, because I do feel like I give, and this is not revolutionary. You hear this all the time from even like, celebrities and stuff. It's like, as you get older, the less fucks you give.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
just knowing, and it's like, I can definitely, there was a time when I probably would have acted like them in certain situations. But as I've gotten older, and I think after years of working in retail at a record store where it was like, I had the liberty to say and do things that you probably couldn't get away with at like other jobs. That it was like, I'm not putting up with bullshit. Like, you can leave, sir.
Yeah.
Like, out the door.
I am the manager. Like, that's
Exactly.
the best feeling.
Oh, yeah. Oh, when I was at Guitar Center, I had to pull that
Like,
card.
can I speak to the manager? And it's like, bitch, you are talking to her.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like those kind of things. So it was, I've had some experience, but it doesn't come like naturally, I think. And I think like, I don't think it's exclusive to women, but I feel like obviously, girls like are raised a certain way sometimes.
Sure.
And like, and so it's a skill sometimes to actually say, no, I'm not okay with this. No, I think I'm going to leave now. Like that takes practice. And so that's what I really do like about this movie. But yeah, can't say this isn't like a comfort watch.
No.
I'm not going to be throwing this on.
I would love to meet the person that this is. Like, this just pops this one on before bed.
Yeah.
Because
it is
couldn't be
beautiful.
me.
It is. It's very well done.
Even the
picturesque.
score is like, there's this dread when you hear it.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's like kind of nice when they're at the villa, and then as it gets darker and darker, the score gets darker, and it's like, I just felt like my chest was constricted throughout.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah.
did such a good job at highlighting how dark it gets out in the boonies.
Totally.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like, I haven't seen a lot of movies that really convey like how dark it is out there when they're
Spotted
driving.
is like that. I feel like they really did a good job of showing how like dark that shit gets out there.
Yeah.
No, gorgeous movie. Like it's a compliment to say I'm not going to be just casually throwing this
Yes, because
on
that's their
anything.
intent. I don't think he was
Exactly.
like, I really hope everyone
No.
comes it out to this
Puts it on
one.
every,
not a popcorn
every
movie.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Throw
Yeah.
on, speak no evil. Yeah.
I read a thing where the director said he's not a huge horror person in general, but like did set out to make a very dread-filled movie, but that his favorite horror movies were like The Exorcist and Don't Look Now and Rosemary's
Checks
Baby.
out.
It's like you checked all this, you did your homework, and
You
so
did.
you did. Good job.
Well,
It's
because
a lot
it's
like
not
Funny
very,
Games too.
It
if
is.
you've
It's
ever-
very
much like
The
Funny Games.
Strangers. So, like,
which
those
is
are the
also
two.
they're not super gory,
They're
And
not.
This one, like
funny,
until
I
the
love
tongue
Funny
thing
Games,
happens,
and it's another one where it's like I'm not going to throw it on for the whole fam, but I love that movie. Like,
I do too, because it's a good movie, but it's just, and sometimes like it felt cathartic to watch this because it pulled some stuff out and it kind of helped me clarify some things. But I've been talking about in therapy, but
it was so infuriating, but it was cathartic watching it again. I'm glad we watched it because it was very nice looking and watching and being like, I wouldn't at this point in my life, that
I would
couldn't
never.
be me. Like it
Yes.
just couldn't be me. And I think
Yeah.
before, like you said, Rachel, I think in some situations that could have been before. Like in some of the situations, not all of them. We're not going back to your fucking rabbit. I'm sorry, child.
Yeah,
But,
sorry.
but
parent.
it was nice to see and be like, it was like that was the comfort at the end of the movie for me was like, okay, well, this could never happen to me.
Because I'm not. I don't think people please strangers for the most part, either. Like where I'm more concerned with my general vicinity of people.
Oh yeah,
I could give a fuck if a stranger walks away at this point and is like just like. I don't know. I'm not. No. If some guy walked up to me on the street and was like, "You want to come hang out at our villa?" I'm not going to be like, "Sure." So I just walk away or I roll my window up.
Yeah, or figure out a way to get out of it and then I move on.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, these people do not, and let's talk about them in our next category. Who is she?
I just wish we could all get along like we used to in middle school. I wish that I could bake a cake made out of rainbows and smiles and we'd all eat it, be happy.
She doesn't even go here.
Do you even go to this school?
Okay, so we have Corinne. It's played by Karina Smulders, and then boy alert. I did want to include Patrick because I think he's got.
Oh yeah, they're a team.
Lady
Like
killer
Boris and
energy.
Natasha.
Exactly.
Yeah.
and the fact that they're really married in real life is just crazy.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
yeah.
they're really,
They're a full couple. Yeah, they were married when
Wow.
they auditioned for this. Yeah.
Huh. That kind
Well,
of
that's
adds
cool.
more to
Does that add a weird level to it?
Yeah.
And I think they're like well known in there.
in
Yeah.
in
in that
Deutsch.
area. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Patrick is played
Deutschland.
by Feja van Hoyt. I think I said it right.
Yep.
Sure. And then I'm putting that fucking bunny as a lady
Yeah.
killer, Ninus.
Yeah.
Because I was like, This fucking bunny. Man. Okay. Our victims are Abel, Marius Damslev, Agnes, who's played by Leva Forsberg, Bjorn, who is Morten Burien. I've been talking about a lot of evil blonde men recently, and I do not think, like, I'm not into this guy, but I will say I like a blonde beard, you know?
Mhm.
Corey has a
He
blonde
did
beard.
give off like where he could have been attractive, but his character was such a like fucking
Yeah. And that's
cup
the thing. It's
that
like
he's gonna
physically, he
she
kind
is.
of is in the Corey zone, but like emotional, like Corey's not a sad sack like this dude, you know.
That's
He's a
good.
safe
I'm
driver,
happy to hear
but
it.
he would not turn around. for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. And then Louise, who's played by Sitzel Siemcook. Okay, motive we shall discuss because there's a lot. There's a lot and not a lot. It's like it's complex but very simple. They want to fuck with people, you know. Okay, our weapons: politeness, music, meat, the pool, scissors, muhajid, and stones. And I want to talk about those stones, but I also want to talk about the language here. At first, I thought I maybe had gotten the dubbed version because I was not expecting them to be speaking English with
much
the
English.
subtitles.
yeah.
And so I think we've got Danish and Dutch here.
Mhm.
But sometimes there aren't subtitles. Sometimes when Patrick and
I love that.
and Corinne, I
Ugh.
know, but you don't need them because you know exactly what they're saying.
They're saying
even if
something
you don't know
not
the
great.
word.
They're saying
saying-
something,
Yeah.
very scary.
But
Mhm.
I also think that when you are speaking a foreign language or when you're speaking a language that you did not grow up speaking, you can't, unless you're extremely fluent and you've been doing this for years, which they don't, they're fluent ish, you know, but you don't always have the full breadth of expression at your
Yes.
fingertips. So you end up being a little more stilted, a little more polite than you, or sometimes a little more blunt than you
Totally.
meant to,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because you just don't have the expansive vocabulary. So Rachel, do you think the language barrier plays a role here?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's the language barrier and also a culture barrier.
Yeah.
And not barrier isn't maybe the right word, but I think that there is a self-awareness that like, okay, we're from two different places, so maybe this is a me thing and I'm just not aware of how they do things here, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. I think anybody who travels even to different states or internationally, sometimes there's a little bit like, oh, that's different. Not culture shock necessarily, but I think you have a little bit more flexibility with certain things where it's just like, oh, that's not how I would have handled that, but it seems like they're okay, so I'm just gonna let this go, kind of thing. I think, I mean, even like in Hawaii, driving up to Haleakala and stuff, there's like all these signs that's like, let locals pass, because the tourists are just so obnoxious. And these people are like, I just want to get to my house. I realize you don't know these roads and it's scary, but like, let me go past you because I know what I'm doing, you know? And it's like all these kind of like interesting cultural things where I'm sure it's super annoying for them, but at the same time, they also are like, but it's part of like what keeps this, whole economy thriving, blah, blah, blah. So they have a little bit of patience, but at the same time, they're like, let me get past you. You don't know where you're going, this kind of thing. So I think there's an element of that where for a while, I think they're kind of questioning it a little bit, but everything has a point. Like a tipping point, and I think they just go far past that. So yeah, the barrier's there, but you can only let that get in your way for so long, I think, until it's like, no, you know exactly what you're doing. And also just, I'm not comfortable. Like, I don't care if you're okay with it.
Totally.
I'm not okay with it. And
it's not fitting my criteria of things that are okay, you know?
Yes,
Like,
and that's okay to say that. Yes. So many thoughts about that. I kept expecting them to be like, surprise, we speak Danish. We knew what you were saying the whole time. And we don't get that moment because I don't think we necessarily need it.
I don't think so,
And
yeah.
I like the restraint in that too, you know? Shelby, what do you think about the language here?
Yeah, I absolutely love that it's very pointedly like we get subtitles for the whole movie. And I assume we do that. We get that in any language that watches this movie. And even during the English, because it's so jarring when we don't get them for the evil couple. Like it's just like they have a secret even away from the audience. And just from a filmmaking perspective, like I just find that so interesting. One of my favorite things that filmmakers do in horror is when they play with subtitles. It doesn't happen very
Yeah.
often because it's not, and it's hard to do well. But when it does happen, it is jarring because it's something you also have to be paying attention to catch. And I feel like a movie like this, you are so wrapped up in the whole story. Like, I don't even think I really grabbed onto that the first time I watched it, but this time around, I was like, that is so fucking scary that the movie is like, you don't even get to know what's going on. Like, you're also in this with them and you don't get to hear what they're saying. And it was just so jarring. And I absolutely love that. And I do think the language barrier plays a role because it's like, you're not only, like everyone said, it's just, you're going through these like cultural differences and you're also like, okay, half of this maybe we're just misunderstanding because of the language.
Tone is
because
so different too. The way it's delivered is different.
Exactly the way it's delivered. I mean, maybe we just didn't find maybe he didn't find the right word for something. Maybe she forgot she was a vegetarian because like that word in English didn't really didn't like, you know,
pop up,
register in his brain. And like, this has to be something, because the way he presents the boar meat in that scene, I was like, this is the one spot where I wouldn't have eaten it, but I would have also been like, oh, I think this might be like he just like didn't pick that up because
as a vegetarian, that like
that's
a big test.
I wanted to ask you about that, Rachel.
Are you willing to? Because I think for a lot of people, whether it's like for environmental reasons or health reasons or animal rights reasons, it's like that's a moral thing.
Yes,
on some level, and if you're willing, if you're willing to compromise, if you're willing to compromise, sorry, that's a Love Island joke. Your morals just to make somebody else feel appeased, like that's a big thing, and like that's something I would never do. I've told you the story about the Italian. Like I had a boyfriend whose Italian grandma heard I was vegetarian, so she made me lamb. And I was like,
as one does.
And I was having like an internal panic because I'm like, do I
offend the woman, or
do I have to offend this Italian grandma? But thankfully, my boyfriend at the time was like, she doesn't eat meat.
Especially not baby meat.
She was like, it's not meat. I made her lamb.
Well, and I thought about you, Rachel, in the scene where they're having the conversation where he's like, so you're a pescatarian then, you're not really and like, well, what about the environmental stuff? And like, I've seen that happen to so many vegetarian and vegan friends where someone feels the need to just like interrogate you, and I don't know why it makes other people
like it
so
doesn't
upset.
affect you. Just let them eat what they want. Like
exactly.
Yeah, I thought about that when I was teaching, because around Christmas and the end of the year we would get tons of treats, and sometimes they're really great, but a lot of times they're homemade.
Starbucks card or some shit.
That's
I don't want your weird muddy buddies.
I would get like this sack full of it, and I remember my friend Sophia would just say like, "No, I'm a grown up. I don't eat what I don't want to eat. No. I will not eat this.
I don't either.
Want
I'm
to."
really bad about it. Like I'm like.
Well, and Bjorn didn't stand up for her. Like he didn't. Like he could have said, like, no, dude. Like
it's worse than the American one too. Like the American one is like they go more into it. That scene's a little more like elongated and played out a little bit longer, and they watch her like Mackenzie Davis like real uncomfortable take the bite, chew it, and swallow it. Like it is, you're feeling it. Like you can feel for how hard it is for her to get it down. And I felt like this scene, as uncomfortable as it was, I do feel like in the American version they stretched it out to a point where I was like, oh, I'm on the brink of like turning this movie off because I am so uncomfortable watching this scene.
Yeah. Whew, and that's the point, you know?
Yeah.
Whew. Okay. Well, let's get into a car. I also want to say I was very happy that it wasn't like a spark plug missing or like somebody had like fucked with the engine or something. It was dumber than that. It was just like they could not get away, you know?
But I also read that, which I really loved, because like it's from the proverb, you know, like see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. So like the linguistic disconnect represents the idea of hearing no evil. They don't hear the evil because they don't speak their
that's
language.
Interesting.
Oh,
I
that's
hadn't even actually considered the name of the film at all.
Yeah, when I like kind of, when I was reading that yesterday, I was like doing some research and I was like, oh my God, like, yeah, like if you're not, hearing, you're not hearing it. And
You
so
don't, if you don't hear it, maybe
if you don't speak
see
it,
it.
you don't see it. Yes. But there were plenty of other things for them to pick up on. But I did find that interesting where I was like, they technically are not hearing the bad things.
And when you
but
see
they
a little
sure are seeing
kid
them.
floating in a hot tub, you keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
He might
Exactly.
just be, sometimes they're just practicing how long they
think
can
about
hold
it.
their breath,
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and it's so interesting to watch this when he's reading the story to his daughter and he's like, oh no, it ended happily. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to just change
because
this
he
ending.
does not want to like introduce her to the harsh reality of life. but
Exactly.
He's
And-
doing it.
Here's the thing. I completely understand that. Like you do have to have conversations and be like, when are our kids ready? And sometimes that decision is taken out of your hands. Sometimes tragedies happen. You can't predict that. But you know, that's situations or discussions Corey and I have had. Like, what movies are they ready to watch?
Yeah.
But I think they also have this false sense of security that, like, I'm their parent. Nothing bad can happen when I'm here. And so they're not being honest. They're not speaking the evil to themselves, you
Totally.
know?
Just throw this one on for them, Jen. Just throw it.
Yeah.
Up
Oh,
for the whole
yeah.
fam. Yeah.
I think everyone will really love it.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
Corey,
look,
you might get Corey on an airplane if you get him to watch
yeah,
this one.
maybe. Yeah, we're definitely not going to Holland anytime soon.
No.
Or the Netherlands. Sorry, the Netherlands. I will say I also got a little paranoid and I just Googled, what language do Danish people speak?
Oh, I don't. You don't. I'm
happy to
I'm
report
freely
it's,
to admit.
it's Danish.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we got
I
it.
knew that.
Well, we are not getting in a plane because, again, Corey won't. So we are going to get in a car that has full gas and we're going to safely drive it in the middle of the road away. And we're not going to turn around because we are getting in Loser, We're Going Killing.
This woman will soon cut, chop, break, and burn 5 men beyond recognition. And there isn't a jury in this country that will convict her.
So I want to talk about boundaries here. I want to talk about Patrick and Corinne, what they are doing, because the first hour of this movie was so fucking stressful. What I meant when I said we all know someone like this is not that we all know secret serial killers. It's that we all know somebody who just will push a boundary.
Speak for yourself, Jen.
Push a I mean, I hope we don't all know secret serial killers, but just like pushing, continuing. Yeah. It's the epitome of they give you an inch. You give an inch, they take a mile, which or to paraphrase Sebastian, you give them an inch, they swim all over you, It's, and I was like, stop it. At some point you have to set your boundary, but then these are the kinds of people that keep pushing. For the past 5 years, I've been talking about setting boundaries in therapy, and it's really fucking hard, especially when you have people like this who seem to be getting off on it.
They enjoy it. It is, it's an enjoyment. Yes.
Well, so Sammy, you kind of alluded to the biblical element of this movie. So why do you think Patrick and Corinne are killing? What do they want? And why the stones at the end?
I think so much of it is just a need for control. And like in funny games, kind of like the thrill of a psychological game that they're in charge of. And they're the only ones that know the rules too. So there is something that comes with that. And I think it's erotic to a certain extent for them. I do feel that there is a sexual conduit between the two of them that this kind of whole game plays out or brings out in the both of them. And just the whole because you let me, that illustrates to me that you're punishing the victims just for being passive and overly polite. And I don't want to victim blame, but at every chance they let it happen. And unfortunately, when I'm attempting to keep things civil between two people, the other person can sometimes see that as an advantage. I've seen it many, many times in my life. It's been done to me many times. Oh, I see this person is passive. Let me see how far I can push them before they pop. Or I know I can continue getting what I want from this person due to their fear of my retaliation or fear of them overreacting to a situation. And, this happens a lot in real life. It doesn't amount to murder, hopefully, knock on wood. But I do think on a long enough timeline, if you consistently push someone to the brink because you know that you can, that can take years to recover from. I'm actively going through it after getting boundary after boundary crossed. And somehow each time the boundary was pushed further and further due to my inaction. And I hate that about myself. But so much of that comes from wanting to keep the people around me pleased because it meant I was safe, you know? And if you're not if you're telling people your feelings, you're subject to opening yourself up to ridicule, for it to get worse. And sometimes it does. And I think that's what keeps a lot of people pleasers like me from doing it later in life, because I've already I've already tried and it hasn't worked. So I'm like, why am I going to do it again? You know what I mean? Which isn't a good thing, because again, the cycle just keeps repeating. And I think when it falls on deaf ears, or you get gaslit into thinking it's less hurtful, even though you're the one hurt, you get to a point where you're just like, all right, my feelings don't matter. And so you learn to keep quiet, and you learn to speak no evil, I guess, kind of is what the movie is trying to say. But
she said it.
I got it out. But as for the stones, I think it makes it look maybe like an accidental death, or I'm looking at it as maybe like a metaphor, like it's a sort of warning of how you can lose your voice when you don't stand up for yourself. And because they're taking away everything from them, so it's like you're losing their clothes, their child, their watches, their wallets, their IDs, everything that makes them who they are. And you really do lose a part. I truly, in times where I felt like I was keeping things afloat for another person, even though I was upset with them and what they had done. I'm ultimately the one that was stripped of my identity at the end of that. So I think you could look at it as, a metaphor for not staying true to yourself when something is not quite the way it should be, when something's something nary is afoot.
And it's okay to have that feeling and to listen to yourself. And I think we train ourselves not to listen, to not speak that evil, Well,
and it's not okay to, if your reaction to someone going, hey, man, this might not have been your intent, but this made me feel some type of way. If your immediate reaction isn't to go, I am so sorry, I'll never do that thing again, there is something deeply wrong with you. That is deeply wrong with you. If you cannot accept, because look, you might not have meant to. I know in my life, I've hurt people's feelings and had no intent in doing so. But that doesn't change the feelings that were hurt. And being an adult means being able to say, I fucked up. I'm sorry. It doesn't make you a bad person. Saying that you hurt someone doesn't make you a bad person. What makes you a bad person is not learning from that experience. Again, I have a lot of morality police in this episode. Because I myself am trying to work through something like this with everyone almost I've ever met, in my life has I've had a situation like this. And the ones that stick around, or the ones that I want around in my life, are the ones that receive my information and my hurt and do something about it instead of punishing me for it. So if you are still in my life, you are someone that I feel comfortable enough to do that with.
Yay.
Give yourself a clap on the back, everybody.
Shelby, what do you think about these stones, and why are they so awful?
Why are they so awful? So I actually wanted to take this part to talk a little bit about the alternate ending that they just couldn't afford to shoot, which is to me really interesting, because it's the fact that they changed the ending for a just logistics wise. So the original ending that he wrote was going to be that at the same time as them being stoned, we pan out and see the entire village, 30 other couples are doing this to other couples.
It goes all the way up to the top.
And it's
the whole thing.
The director called it a sect of people who are doing this.
Kind of like Midsommar.
And even from there, I don't think there was going to be a lot more explanation beyond oh shit, this is it's
the whole community. It's like the invitation kind of.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what the original ending was going to be. So it's interesting that they changed it again because of budget and logistics, because they said honestly some of it was just logistically getting 30 couples.
Well, and COVID, right? Because they filmed
it was
during COVID.
Yeah. So they had to reshoot some, the very beginning scenes in Italy were shot last. There was a lot of stuff they had to shoot in a weird way because of COVID. They couldn't figure out how to do these 30 extra couples, or I guess 60 extra couples, because it was a bunch of them, all mixed in together. So, but this ending, I like it because it almost made it eerier that there's less of an explanation. It truly is because you
Because
let me.
were home. It's
Which
because
is-
you were
it's
home.
because you were
argument.
home, yeah.
I'm sure like The Invitation loved that ending. It was horrifying, but I feel like if I had seen that in this, and I don't think I would have not liked it. I think I would have been like, oh, that rocks. It was like a whole thing. It was a whole cult.
Mhm.
But this ending is much more like deep seated and much more horrifying. And I think it really
Isolated, yeah.
drives home that like don't let people walk all over. Like it
Mhm.
weirdly, because of all the biblical imagery and because of like that ending, it really does. It becomes a parable of a movie. Like it's like, here's a lesson to learn, which is so interesting when a horror movie can pull that off without it feeling
Like
preachy
a wag of the
and like
finger at you.
shoehorned
Yeah,
in.
for sure.
Yeah, like it didn't feel like that at all, weirdly. And like the ending of the newer one, Jen, I don't think you've seen the newer one, so I don't want to like spoil anything for you, but
It's much
I
happier.
yeah.
Of course.
And yeah, and I that's one of the reasons but I also like that ending for that movie.
I do too. I
Uh-huh.
do too.
You know, but I also feel like this ending this is why I prefer the original. And
Mhm.
plus the shot of them naked in that quarry at the end
It's
is just
beautiful.
beautiful.
It's
so
very Adam
beautiful.
and Eve,
Yeah.
you know, esque. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's what I
and-
was thinking about the stones too. Is it's just like
Yeah.
it is
Biblical.
the original sin too
Yeah.
of not like
Yes.
and there's Abel is the name. I can't imagine that's his actual name. That's probably just what they call him. You know,
Yeah.
like maybe they call all the boys Abel. And I just like it for me. It felt so symbolic of like when your boundary is crossed, it's like one stone,
Yeah.
and maybe that one isn't going to kill you, but 50 of them will, you know, and they
Yes.
just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and they hit in
when
different
she gets
places.
that one shot to the face that where her like neck
Dude.
jerks back. Oh,
Whew.
boy. Yeah.
I
It's
know.
rough.
It was, yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I have a lot to say about the bunny. I keep going off on this bunny, but I want to talk about Corinne too specifically because she is a lady killer here. Before we do that, let's pay some bills. Okay, so when they go back, and I was like, of course you look as soon as they pulled in and he's already gone back in the house. Like, that's the first thing you do. You search the fucking car. Maybe it fell under the seat because, you know, all kind of shit falls
Do you
under
know
the
how
seat.
many
You guys
times I have lost something and it was under our fucking car? Like,
Exactly.
see,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's
And
the
so you
limit
look
is
there.
infinite.
But also, once you realize the bunny is there, you'd be like, hey, dude, Bjorn, come back. We got the bunny. Let's
Yep.
go.
But they could have even left after that
They
too,
could
because
have, and
they
they
get talked
didn't.
into it again. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so I want to talk about how Corinne convinces them to stay. But I also have kind of a mini rant because this is the thing that I was really working through while I was watching this movie. Because I think I've had interactions with people that continue to feels like purposely cross boundaries to try to
Yeah.
manipulate, continue to push. And for a while, I really valued that relationship because I was like, okay, this is teaching me to set boundaries for myself. This is teaching me to say this isn't okay. And I mean, I can do that kindly. You know, I don't
but
want
someone who cares about you shouldn't give you that lesson. You know what I
that's
mean?
the thing. Well, and I think like, you know, a couple of times it can be an honest mistake. It's fine. Like, let's work
Yeah.
on building the relationship. And at a certain point, I was like, this is too exhausting. I
It's
cannot
broken.
keep
It's
setting
too
these
broke.
boundaries because setting these boundaries is so stressful for me. I will do it. I'm getting better at doing it. And as a parent, I've had to learn how to do it. But like at a certain point, I was like, even if we can, like, I don't want to repair anymore.
Well,
I
'cause
don't
you don't
want this
trust that
relationship
person anymore
because I don't, because
you've done it
it's
so many times. It's like
Exactly.
Sincere and Melanie,
Yes.
like on Tight to Bring It Back to Reality TV.
I
But
know.
like it is that type of thing of like, okay, so you're like, I'm never, you know, how can I repair it? I will never do that again. And then
Yeah.
lo and behold, a day later, you're doing the same shit again. It's like
Exactly.
if you can do that and then be called on it and look at yourself and go, I didn't do anything wrong, then something's wrong with you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like, you are missing something because it's a social ineptitude that I worry about in our society,
too.
kind of. Like,
And I think I can even separate myself enough to say, it doesn't matter to me if there's something wrong with you. That's your thing. I just don't need this in my life anymore.
I don't want to
Yes,
deal with
that's
what's
fine.
wrong with you anymore.
I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
But, and here's where they go wrong, because just saying that is enough. No is a complete sentence.
Mhm.
I'm uncomfortable is enough of a reason. And if someone weaponizes themselves or
Yep.
weaponizes they're like what she says, oh, just what's wrong just because we do things differently, essentially saying just because our culture is different, we did something wrong. Exactly.
Like, instead of trying to, you know, empathize and work through it and like have a grown up conversation, your defense the character immediately
like
got
when
defensive.
she's like, "Oh, sorry, we don't have a king size bed for you."
Yeah,
like,
and I was like,
yeah.
no, that I mean, and that's gaslighting too. But I also like because I've had instances too where the person kept wanting to talk this through with me, and I was like, I've already given you my explanation. You didn't like it.
Enough.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I have
You
to
can't
cut this
manipulate
off.
something until it comes out the way you want it to.
Exactly.
You know?
And that's what the situation was becoming. And so I was like, I'm sorry. This relationship is just not going to work. I'm sorry. I hate that it's ending this way because I don't want to be rude. I will be rude if I have to, but I don't want to
You're
start
making me be
there.
rude is what I always say is like, don't make me act like my fucking dad. That's what I always say. Because if like, I know I can take a lot. I don't have a lot of praise for myself, and this shouldn't even feel like praise because it's not a good thing, but I'm able to withstand a lot of bad treatment, unfortunately. And if you get me to a point where I have now like, actually this is too much, then you've been committing acts that are out of this world, essentially, because it takes so much to get me there. And
Well,
if you
I
do,
also
like,
think we shouldn't have to
that's on you.
constantly insist on people treating us good too. Like I
No,
shouldn't have to
ask for
explain
it.
to you
Yeah.
if this doesn't feel good. That
No.
like you playing this music this loud and not turning it down when I ask you,
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to explain that to you. And if I do, maybe we are not meant to be friends.
We're not
you know?
compatible. It's not compatible.
Exactly. And that's fine. But I'm gonna move on, you know?
For sure.
Okay, I feel better.
I
feel get that off my chest.
it, Jen.
Woo! Rachel, what do you think about Corinne in this scene and how she convinces them to stay?
Oh, I mean, this is like expert level manipulation here.
Yeah.
You know, she is these guys know what they're doing. This isn't their first
Not their first
rodeo.
Yeah.
You can you don't have to have all those pictures on the wall to prove it to me.
Nope.
Because I think she also she kind of takes a step back a lot of the time, but she knows this is her moment to set
To shine.
to like step forward and kind of take control. Because with Patrick, I mean, obviously as like his presence in the household and you know, I think being a guy, like it can come off a certain way. So she knows like this is her moment to push it and to really kind of test those boundaries. And so, you know, how does she do it? She guilts them. She gaslights them. She makes them feel bad and like puts it like makes them uncomfortable in such like, I mean, kudos to her. Like she did a good job at it.
Yeah,
It's annoying as all hell,
Like,
but
it hurt my tummy. Like,
yeah, no, that's the thing. It's like she's making you question like, I mean, it's like Jackie Zabrowski. It's like, who's the bitch in this situation? It's making you question it. Like, wait, am I the asshole here?
Yeah.
Like, is it me? And it's like, no, it's not you. She's just really good at making you feel like it's you. And just by making it seem like, oh yeah, we don't have the amenities to make you comfortable. Sorry about that. Like
and they aren't even complaining about that either. They're like, hey, these things that you've done are making me uncomfortable. And it's like, well, sorry, we don't have a big bed. It's like,
they're also
that's
not
it.
actually telling them, wait, am I crazy? But like, did they not actually say you were naked in bed with my young daughter?
They didn't.
They didn't.
Yeah. And
say
she
that.
said, oh, that was the other thing I was infuriated by because what she says in response to that was, where were you, Louise? Because remember, that was when they were fucking and he was looking in the mirror. And so that's the thing. That's another way that people,
and Bjorn
manipulators gaslight.
It's putting it back on them because they know Bjorn didn't say anything that Patrick was outside watching them fuck. So that he knows
should never have to worry about a naked man getting into bed with your kid, regardless if you are actively having sex.
Well,
or not.
even when she was in the shower and he comes into the bathroom, she doesn't say anything.
She doesn't
like,
say anything.
You walk in there and tell your husband, like, hey, this happened and it was fucking weird. Like, she just like curls up into herself.
I
and it was
scream
like
at Mike if he walks into the bathroom.
Oh yeah,
while
I don't
I'm in
like
the
it
bathroom
either.
Like, so if a fucking stranger man did that, it would not go down very well. At least I have enough it's to stick up for myself in that situation.
It's because I think they're afraid of making each other uncomfortable too, because she knows if she tells him, it's going to upset Bjorn. And then that's the same reason why Bjorn doesn't tell her like, hey, he's
yeah.
outside, he sees us, he knows what we're doing. It's because they it's not only that they don't want to make Corinne and Patrick uncomfortable, they don't want to make each other uncomfortable, and ultimately that's what's causing a lot of this rift, because they can't. It's like, well, Patrick, they know, so they kind of have him in a corner. They're like, are you going to tell him, or do you want us to tell him?
Yeah,
are you going to tell her, or do you want
Yeah.
us to tell her? That kind of thing. And so it's it's just very subtle and very clever. And Karen is she's pulling that card, and she's testing it, and just kind of calling their bluff and winning.
And
Yeah,
it's
she does.
also, it's a double standard that they're exploiting too, because it's like, of all the shit that they just laid out that you did to them, it's the one misstep that you could lay at their feet. It's this one instance where they're not perfect. So how dare you try to have a high ground over me, you know? And that's what manipulators do, is they find a flaw. It's the perfect victim complex too. It's like, well, we can't feel sorry for her because she did drugs in college or something, or, you know, she was drunk that night. So we don't feel sorry for her because she asked for this. So it's essentially saying, well, you weren't watching, so we can do whatever the fuck we want, you know? Whoa, this is working me up. Okay, I was thinking a lot about my favorite murder, which I haven't listened in a while, but I used to like obsessively listen. And I love Fuck Politeness. That was just constantly ringing through my head. And I think I didn't pull as many quotes from this movie or instances from this as I thought I was going to, because I think it just kind of felt really overwhelming in a lot of ways. But I do think it's really interesting, like immediately, because I knew Patrick was going to be the bad guy, because I've seen the billions of James McAvoy trailers, you know? But he calls Bjorn heroic for saving Ninus in Tuscany. So why do we think Bjorn and Louise ignore so many red flags? Sammy, why do you think they keep letting this happen?
I think it's, you know, what we've been saying is like that they let their inability to act boils down to an extreme desire to avoid confrontation and appear polite. You know, we've been conditioned to prioritize societal decorum over our own like survival instincts at this point. I mean, I guess that's, you know, weathering these days, but I do think it's a problem for a lot of, unfortunately, women, you know, because I do think from the womb, you know, since we come out, we're told to be polite and to be, you know, foldable or moldable, if you will, I guess, to whatever.
Malleable sometimes,
sometimes you gotta be foldable. But I do think that, you know, I just remember being told, like, fix yourself to the situation. You know what I mean? I like, don't be who you are, but assess who they are and then morph to make sure that they're comfortable, is how I was raised. You know, I was raised in a home that was, you know, a lot of my survival instincts came from being, you know, making sure everything was cool with me all of the time, you know, as to not cause a ruckus. And I think, unfortunately, you know, you sometimes have to learn the hard way that even when you do stand up for yourself, matters can occasionally get worse instead of better. And I think that's what they're thinking, you know, when you have someone who's in a unfamiliar place with unfamiliar people, you tend to lean into the cautious side of things. Because while most people won't go and stone your naked body to death, but some will take matters into their own hands and make them worse for you with no evidence to back them up aside from their own defensive delusions. So I think that's kind of what's happening here, is they don't know these people. And I really don't think that they're thinking, you know, we should just get through with it. You know, they're probably just thinking we should just get through with this, because what are they going to do? Kill us? You know, like that's not what we think. Like in the situations that like because sometimes even in situations I've been in where I really don't want to have the confrontation, I'm like, what's the worst that'll happen? They'll kill me, you know, or, you know, but there are situations in which there is a worst that can happen, because I've also lived through that. And then it gets away from you and you don't really know how to put, you know, the lightning back in the bottle, kind of. So I think they were playing it safe. And I think the worst that happens is let's just get through it and we'll go home on Sunday. You know, I think, and I've been in that situation so many times where I've just been like, just till tomorrow, just to save face, because I knew that that wasn't I might be annoyed and I probably won't like this person by the end of this experience, but I don't think that they'll kill me. So
Yeah. Well, it's that momentary safeness
yeah.
compared to the overarching
We feel
freedom.
safe when there's no confrontation.
Exactly.
It makes us uncomfortable. It's not a fun time. No one likes it. I don't like doing it to my husband. I don't like doing it with my friends. It has to be a big enough deal for me to do that. And that's why I say, like, if I really do that and I feel comfortable enough and I see you as a safe person, that's a good, thing, not to like say that everyone I'm the morality police, but I do think if people feel comfortable telling you your feelings or their feelings, that's a sign you're a good person,
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, and I think there are sometimes consequences for setting boundaries, and that is something as women particularly we have to be aware of. Like, I have a lingering fear of planning with men because there was a period in my life where that was physically dangerous for me to ask what time are you coming home? And so I just learned not to ask. I learned to absorb that emotion or that frustration or that control, of like, I don't need to know this, so I'm just going to move on. I'm just going to get through the next day. Shelby, what do you think?
It's funny, Sammy, you said, like, what are they going to do? Kill me. One of my favorite lines in this movie is Bjorn telling Louise, because she's like, we got to go. It was the first time that she's like, we got to go.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's another day and a half. You can survive that. Like, you'll survive. He says it in some way like that. And I was like, meh, no, you won't. It's like one of the few moments of levity in that movie, and you don't even catch it the first time around. Because, like, I mean, even though you're kind of understanding what's going to happen, probably, like, it's still like watching it this time around when he said that, I was like, I just thought it was so funny. But, yeah, I feel like, I don't know, this movie, I think, brings so much in so many of us because so many of us have experienced this, whether it's in polite society or if it's in our own relationships, where you look back and, like, there's been like a really big thing. I mean, even online lately, where it's like where women will complain about their husbands and like the comments are all like, don't tell us if you're not going to break up with them. And I don't know how I feel about that, because it makes me feel like it makes me think of like movies like this where it's just like, I don't know, man. I think we should be able to, like, I need to hear the feedback of like, hey, that's not okay. And we shouldn't tell people to just hold in their feelings and just
or
be
leave
like
them.
Yeah.
Well, and
so
I think it's okay to leave in the middle of the night if that's the safe thing for you to do, too.
Exactly.
But
you have to give someone the chance to change, right? Like, I think, and it's what they do with it that matters. Is like, so if I have a problem with someone, or these women that are online complaining about their husbands, I'm gonna assume that the problem won't be fixed until I let this person know that there is a problem. You can't just keep waiting for something to change when you haven't discussed it. I think
that, and sometimes I think you need to, even if you're in a really bad, and it is a situation of like, yeah, you probably do need to leave them. You have to talk yourself into that, because for years you've talked yourself out of it because you've said this is all normal. And if you're coming to the internet, or if you're in this movie and you're like, hey, this doesn't feel normal, and then someone else is like, yeah, it is actually normal, and the fact that you're complaining about it is kind of problematic. And it's like that's what this whole movie is, and then they die, and then you die. So yeah, I feel like this is just, again, it was fascinating to me culturally, being from America, seeing this, and like seeing the director talk about how like this is something he could see happening because of the culture of like just people pleasing they have there. And I can't speak much of it on that at all. I'm just going off of what the director said, but it's just really interesting to see from a different cultural perspective. Like, I would actually love to see someone from Denmark talk about this movie and like how they identified with it, because like, as again, we're all Americans, so we're just like, the whole movie.
The American one isn't in America. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
the American one isn't in America either.
They're not
so
American. So it's I would be interested in seeing it like a resort here, or like someone here, like a in the South or something, like what that would be like.
I don't know if it would happen though. That's the thing. Like,
I don't know.
Think, even though we all have had our moments of people pleasing, I even think back to, like I said, I brought up that first birthday party because like,
and you're like,
I just left. I just walked out to the front yard and was like, I'm not going to be in there anymore because this is making me so fucking uncomfortable. Like, I'm just not going to. And that was during my like really big people pleasy days.
Yeah.
I was with someone I really shouldn't have been. And I was like, I did bend over backwards to convince myself like everyone hated me and I was the problem and I needed to do everything I could to please these people. And even during that time of my life, I was like, I'm out. Bye. Like, and it's like, I love this from that cultural standpoint. And I feel like that's why, like, I couldn't even explain some of the red flags they were ignoring because it's like my brain will never understand that.
No.
But, you know, seeing it, I don't know. It's just, I don't know what to say other than screaming. I'm devolving into just wanting to scream again.
Well, and I think they feel. Yeah, I'm gonna try to calm myself down. But like I was thinking about them leaving in the middle of the night too, because they feel guilty about that. I think that's part of the reason they go back, you know, is because they feel, well, somebody left without saying goodbye. Somebody didn't value our hospitality enough. And I think if this were like their lifelong best friend, I think maybe I could see, you may owe them an explanation. This is a random couple. I think, you know, and I think I had a relationship that I left via text. And I got a lot of shit from doing that. And I didn't say anything about it because I didn't want to spark any. I wanted to be gone. I wanted to be done. Yep. And then as I was unpacking how I felt about it, I was like, no, that was the only way that felt safe for me to leave that situation. And that's not my fault. That is not the situation that I created. And it sucked that I just kind of had to take that.
But once you give your reason, like someone like that wants to fight it. You know what I mean? So by pushing yourself away and closing yourself off to them, they are just left with the reason, which is all that they deserve, really, right? Like that's all you deserve. And then they want to keep getting at you. They want to keep finding you and talk about it more and see what the other, you know, try to change the outcome of the situation. Like with my ex, I left a note. And it was also a dangerous situation, but I wrote a note and was like, I'm leaving you. My dad's coming to pack up my shit and I am done. And we never talked again. You know what I mean? Like I did not feel that the person needed any more than you will never see me again. And that is it. And sometimes knowing that the conversation isn't going to get you anywhere either is like, it's okay to decide that there is nothing that can be done to repair this relationship. We're not going to be friends. We're not going to work this out. So I'm going to leave you via text. I'm going to leave you via like a letter because
I'm going to sneak out in the middle of the night.
Yeah, because you've already given the explanation. What else is there to say?
Yeah,
you know?
well, and the response is DARVO, which is a response. It's an abuse tactic. It stands for deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. Because what they do is they're like, oh, no, it's fine to sleep on the floor. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm the victim now because I didn't offer you a king-size bed. You know, it's another abuse tactic. And the only thing you can really do is remove yourself from that, you know?
Because they're going to talk their way around you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a skill.
It is a skill, and it's for these people. It's a sport, you know. It's their vacation.
My son loves it when I yell at him to dance. So you don't even know. Okay,
that's not dancing.
Not my tempo.
I also wonder if there's like an element of like yuppiness in this because it's like they're pleasant, like middle-aged couples, and like I also think that Bjorn and Louise. Less Louise, more Bjorn. They're uncomfortable with somebody not liking them or thinking that they're bad people or like, it's making Bjorn and Louise uncomfortable thinking about leaving without saying goodbye. Like they don't have the balls to leave that note and be like, I don't care how you handle this. That's on you. Like you know, because it's hard sometimes to do those things when you know that like I'm uncomfortable knowing that that's going to upset somebody else.
Yeah.
And it's like that's why it's hard to set boundaries sometimes too. And clearly Bjorn and Louise are not good either.
It is because there's always that voice in your head that is like, there's a tiny % chance that I am the one misunderstanding. And this is, you know, but you just don't get murdered.
You got to rip that Band-Aid off. And clearly Bjorn and Louise needed more practice.
Totally. I always think of Pam in the office when she's like, I don't even like thinking about the idea of Al-Qaeda hating me. And it's like, I know that feeling. So I've had to try to train myself into being like, hey girl, just because the, you know, person at the stoplight didn't smile at you doesn't mean that he hate you. You've done nothing wrong. So
or like just because you're trying to make me feel this emotion does not mean I have to feel it. You know, that's
absolutely.
I'm having a situation at work now where it feels like I'm constantly having to absorb other people's emotions. And I'm just like,
no,
no,
I feel that.
I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I'm not, no, I'm going to have some clear communication with you. And that's
Yeah.
fine. You know, that's where I draw the line.
And sign up to carry your burden. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah. And sometimes it feels really good. Sometimes it feels really bad. But another thing that feels good is our next category. Good for her.
Claiming she could take it no more, the young mother released the emergency brake, allowing her car to roll backwards into the nearby lake.
Good for her.
Okay. Looking into the camera and saying, yes, we know murder is bad, but
bad.
that bunny deserved to die. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Throw it in the fjord, I will say. Okay, I do want to talk about this because you let me. I was staring at Bjorn when he's looking at the keys when Patrick goes and pees.
I know.
And it's like Patrick is daring him to do something.
He knows he won't.
Doesn't. And but he knows how bad it is at this point too, and he still doesn't, because it's scarier in that moment to think about crossing that line.
Because once violence is introduced too, it's like, and you're the one that introduces it, what else is going to happen?
Right. Then you gotta stand 10 toes down to also
More Love Island.
more Love Island. Yes. But I think
one.
it's so interesting the way this movie is introduced, because I do think that's why they were targeted, because he says, is the seat taken? And he's like,
you don't let
clearly
people sit
doesn't
by
want
you at the
to.
pool if there are extra seats, okay? It's weird.
Exactly. So, Rachel, we've kind of talked about, is this their fault? Is this Bjorn and not Bjorn and Corinne? Is this Bjorn and Louise's fault? And how could they have saved themselves?
I mean, fault is a strong word for it, but it could have been avoided. Like, it did not have to end like this. I don't think it's their fault for assuming the best and like trying to get out of their bubble. And like, because I do have some sympathy. It does seem like Bjorn we see him talking to Patrick and just like feeling like he's not where he wants at his life, or is just kind of feeling a little unsettled. And it's like, this is new. I don't know. Let's like make new friends. Like, let's try, like, whatever. Like, I don't blame them for that. It's not their fault, but it is their responsibility to take action when things cross the line that they're not comfortable, whether it's Bjorn's not comfortable or Louise isn't comfortable, or it's putting their daughter in an uncomfortable situation, or exposing their daughter to uncomfortable things, seeing her friend get like, you know, close to abused in front of her kind of thing, some inappropriate behavior there. And so that is their fault. And even when they're getting stoned, it's like, before, you know, I get it if they get hit in the head or something, but it's like, run.
It's like
do
they've
something.
just given up.
Like, you're
by the
just
end.
like, I get you're naked and it's uncomfortable to just like imagine like running through a field naked, but like, you could have run away. Like, they don't have a gun. Like, they're probably not necessarily, I mean, maybe they'd chase you, but you have a head start. Like, go. So yeah, they could have saved themselves any number of times, but it was more uncomfortable for them to make those big moves. And so they just kind of took it. And that's just, to me, that's the bleak thing, because it's also believable. And like, I'm sure we've known countless people where it's just like, and it's, you know, it's hard. I don't want to like judge or anything, but sometimes it's just like, why? Like, I know it's really hard, but like, you don't have to live this way. You don't have to do these things. And obviously there can be a lot of contributing issues or circumstances. This is a very broad idea, but you know, even with just some things, it's like, you don't have to always be unhappy. And like, listen, I have been there countless times over and over again, but just sometimes it's really hard to take those steps forward. But they could have saved themselves. So Patrick wasn't lying. They did. He's like, you let me. They did let this kind of happen to themselves.
And I think the thing that makes me the saddest about it is Agnes. You know, is she yes, the bunny fucking pisses me off, but she's a child, you know?
She's a child. I didn't blame her, honestly, in that moment. I was like, you guys should, again, this is a teaching moment. This is the moment where you're like, Bunny Ninos, Ninos needs to stay behind. He has a
Well,
new
and I
family
think
now.
about this a lot with my own kids, like when they're going over to a new family's house. And I've talked about this a little bit. Like, I need to ask them if there are guns in the house. I need to have that uncomfortable conversation. And it might mean that I say, I'm sorry, my kids can't come to your house. And I don't want to do that. Everything in my body does not want to have that conversation with a
No.
stranger.
Because then it also like creates friction for your kid too.
Exactly.
It's a lot.
But the cost of not having that conversation, I could not live with myself if something happened and I didn't, you know.
For sure.
Shelby, what do you think about this? Because you let me. Because you let me.
Sorry.
It's like it's a weird moment because you're so infuriated by him saying that and that being the reason. But you're also like, I don't know who I'm madder at. Like, okay, sure, I'm madder at the serial killers. Like,
Yes,
sure.
yes.
Yeah.
But also like Rachel said, it was like run. Like even when their car breaks down and they can't go anymore because of fucking idiot. And it's like he tries to like knock on that one door, but I'm also like, even during that scene, it was like, walk. Like walk. It was like watching dumb babies for the last like 20 minutes of the movie.
Try to put the circle in the square, you know?
Exactly. I mean, even when they decide to stay, when they come back in and Corinne and it like convinces them to stay, she gets Louise to do like manual labor in their yard. And I know it's like gardening, but like I was like, oh, that was like a whole, it's like, I got you to stay and I'm going to make you go work in the hot sun. Yeah. Like I'm going to make you do work. And we know we're going to kill you like tonight. Yeah. And so I'm going to get some shit done around here.
Exactly.
And like, just again, it's a really great great is a strong word, but like I recommend watching it a second time, even though it is a hard watch, because there are little things you pick up on as you watch and you're just like, holy shit. Like they knew the whole time and the things that they were trying to get away with and things they did get away with. And it weirdly is more frustrating watching Bjorn and Louise the second time around. I feel like the first time I even had a little more sympathy for them. But the second time it was like, oh my God. Like Rachel said, it's not, I wouldn't say fault, but it's hard not to say it's their fault. Like, they didn't choose for this to happen, but also there were so many times they could get away and so many things they ignored just for the sake of niceties, And I do want to say, like, it is their fault in that they put their daughter in danger. A stranger came and said, a stranger who didn't speak her language was going to watch her while they go out to a fucking dive bar. Yeah.
Fucking insane. Insane. My sister would have, like, her head would blow up.
Oh,
like, she would never.
That's a hard no. Sorry, I'm not going.
We're not going to dinner then. Like, that's the end of the conversation.
Well, and I think it's because they don't think anything that bad can really happen to them, you know, because it's that false sense of like, well, we're nice, respectable families. How bad can it be, you know? Sammy, is this good for her horror?
No.
Yeah.
No. This is good for no one but the stuffed rabbit horror. And I think
stuffed rabbit's having a ball.
Yes. The stuffed rabbit came out on top. The stuffed rabbit gets to live, okay? And with everything intact on its little furry body. But yeah, it's in a way sort of weaponizing awkwardness and takes a real sociopath to be actively aware that they are doing it like the couple here. So yeah, I think that doesn't feel good for me. It certainly doesn't feel good for society either.
Yeah.
And I really wish to anyone that has someone like this in their life, you have the courage to put that wall up and let them walk a different path, because I tell you what, it is probably the best thing I have ever done for my mental health. So I've learned quite a few lessons over the last couple of years, and I don't miss the people that I put that wall up with and didn't respect me back.
Yeah.
I don't miss them. I do not, because there are several in my life that I would rather not have you in my life than feel the way that you make me feel every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Rachel, is this good for horror?
I mean, for Corinne, sure.
Well, that's true.
She's got a new daughter. Shiny brand new daughter to play with. For whatever reason, I do think in the American one too, they explain it a little bit more, like what their motivation is. But here, because it seems like they're just like, I don't know, just helps us to
Get the next
I don't know,
family.
it's like a prop to get the next family. Yeah. That kind of way. For Louise, no, this is not good for her. For Bjorn, not good for
No.
them. Also, just like thinking of the boundaries thing too. I like how this film kind of like Louise doesn't want to go. Like tells him, she's like, no, that's
Yeah.
weird. Like she never wants to go in the first place. And then she starts like scrolling, looking at shoes. And Bjorn kind of guilts her into it a little bit. And it's like there's multiple times too where like Bjorn and Louise don't set boundaries with each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Or cross
Yeah.
boundaries with each other. And it's just like this is just a worse extension. So I do like how it kind of shows that like, hey, you can take baby steps and maybe like by starting here with your closest people that you actually love and care about, and sometimes that can ripple out. And maybe if you had practiced that here, you wouldn't have fallen victim to that over here. So I do want to say, you know, big boundaries don't always have to be really big, huge conversations. Like they
No.
can be little things, like saying, "No, sorry, I don't like to eat that."
Yeah,
you
and I
know?
think a good partner will help you hold those boundaries too.
No, exactly.
And,
That's
and a good friend, like you
Yeah,
know, someone
exactly.
like friends. I would argue, especially like
Mhm.
your friend. No one should ever be talking you into something that you don't want to do. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
so
just
even
not-
before all of this happened, I don't necessarily think like it was good. This whole situation was necessarily good for Louise to begin with, because it didn't seem like it was like a fully supportive, open, great communication. But it didn't, you know, probably could have been fixed. But
Yeah.
the fact that they didn't led to
Not
all of
now.
this. So not good for
Mhm.
her. Not good for her.
Shelby, what do you think? Good for her?
I mean, you didn't even have to call on me. I
I do think
like,
this
"Actually, hot take."
conversation. Oh yeah, but I think I got a lot of this movie is good for me.
Yes. Yes.
because it helped me really
It- you're right.
clarify.
The good
you
for
know?
her, that is me. I am
Yes.
her. She
we
is
are the
me.
hers that it's
We
good
are the
for.
her.
No-
We are the hers.
Yes.
Yeah, because it is so frustrating. And I think a lot of it is projection. There is some projection of like, I see little bits of the old me. I see little conversations I've been in. You know, Patrick, like, I mean, I'm sure as women, we've all come across those men who just want to bully you for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, they just talk down to you and like they're trying to intimidate you. And it's so frustrating and interesting. And especially now at this age where like I just don't let that happen anymore.
Mhm.
But
not
to see
appealing.
it happening, yeah, exactly. And like, you know, it's so, and I come across it a lot, like in this industry too. Like I come across it so frequently, and I feel
Give
like
a mouse a cookie situation here in LA.
exactly,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely. And I feel like watching it, it was good for me in that, like, hey, like I said, it was so nice to see it a second time and be like, that won't ever be me again.
Yes,
like not a
totally.
single bit of that. Like years ago, I could have maybe been like, oh, well, there and there, I need to work on that. And this time it was like that. None of this is me. And that did feel good. Yeah.
Yeah. But would we die for this movie? Let's find out in our next category, Die for Me.
Look at her. I would die for her. I would kill for her. Either way, what bliss.
I'm going to die for this movie. I wasn't sure
Yes.
going in because I thought it was going to be really, really upsetting for different, and it was, but for different reasons. And I think, you know, I don't know when I'll throw this on again, but I do think I got a lot out of it.
Did you think it would be a little more kid forward when you went in? 'Cause
did.
Yeah.
I think so. And it's really not. I mean, the kids
It's really not.
almost feel like symbols in this, which I think made it
Yeah.
a little bit more accessible for me, you know, and I was
Mhm.
thinking a lot about myself as a parent because I'm thinking through, you know, some boundaries I'm going to need to set pretty soon about my children with some adults in their life. And it's just, it's scary, but it's also that's what being a parent is. You have to do that. And, you know, Rachel, what about you? Are you going to die for Speak No Evil?
I think so. I think it's a good movie. I think it is a really good, really smart movie. And I'm glad I was able to rewatch it because it really solidified my thoughts with that. Because, once you kind of see how Patrick and Corinne are setting things up, it just makes it that much better. And it is beautiful. And the music is really effective and really forward, but also really beautiful. And I think really important to it. I do like the remake, and I would encourage people to like watch that too, because it's kind of like, it's very interesting. I'm not going to say it's better than this, but it's interesting to see kind of a more like mainstream Americanized version and like what that looks like, even though it's it's very similar. It's not like there's any massive changes or anything. So I think that that's very cool. And it's interesting just I don't know, to see a movie like this break through in such a cool way. So
for sure.
it feels very of the moment, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, timeless, but also like very of the moment. And I think that's really cool. So yeah, I would definitely die for this movie.
Shelby, what about you?
Oh yeah, I love this movie too. It's just like I said, it reminds me like this and Funny Games like sit in a certain like I don't know if these even have a category name. I'm sure they do. Someone on Letterboxd is called these something.
Yeah.
Like,
A list
but
of
yeah, I don't know what you would call these types of movies from kind of around the same part of the world, but
Yeah.
what's going on over there, by the way, guys? Anyway,
Yeah.
and why in our American remakes do we need to soften it up a little bit?
We're soft.
But I really love it. It's beautiful. It's a great movie. I honestly think it's such a hard watch and it's so bleak. So I wouldn't like put this on someone to watch, but I do think it's a great learning lesson. Again, like I said earlier, I feel like it's like a parable, watching a parable. Like
for sure.
you can learn a lot from this movie. Or
Cautionary
again, like
tale.
me, just project yourself onto it and be like, that's not me anymore.
Yeah.
So I would absolutely die for this movie.
And Sammy, what about you?
I would die for this movie, but I would not die for Karen. I'm not dying for that
No.
bitch.
Not
No,
dying
no.
for her.
And I'm not
Mhm.
dying for the rabbit either, because the
I'd die for
rabbit
anyone in
really
this movie,
fucking
yeah.
like I'm like gonna Elmer Fudd that rabbit.
Uh-huh.
I'm hunting
Kill the
rabbits.
rabbit.
Yeah, kill the rabbit. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
But I would also die for the right for everyone to speak their truth, even if that
Yes.
confrontation, doesn't get resolved after expressing your needs and boundaries. And I stand firmly that your life will be better once you get that person out of your life, because it's not a fun time. You fill yourself with doubt every day, and living on eggshells and peeking around the corner of your life is just not a fun way to exist. I'm glad for movies like that kind of show the growth that I have made, I guess, over the last couple of years, because it is hard. I tell you what, but once you do the hard thing, it becomes much easier.
It does. It's better on the other side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it takes practice, but it's so worth the feeling that you feel once that isn't a shadow over your head anymore.
Yeah. Also, therapy exists. And
I've been going every week. So
Me too. Yes. And on that note, let's wrap up with what's coming next.
Unlock the next configuration. And then the last. No. I've done enough. Enough is a myth.
If you want to follow the show, you can do that on Twitter at the Lady K Pod, and on Instagram at the Lady Killers Pod. We also have a TikTok, Lady Killers, and I'm trying to figure TikTok out. So
Lady
give us a
Killers?
follow.
Lady
Yeah.
Killers?
Give
Lady
us a
Killers.
follow. Help us share some stuff.
Sometimes your
and-
accent comes out in the best way.
it does. Yeah, I know.
It really
Yeah, that's
does.
where I was like, it went up a little there.
Yeah, it
Like
really
we did
did.
a little like
Little lilt,
lapso with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can find me at Jen Ferratu on various social media places. And you can find me hosting the Losers Club podcast. We just last night recorded Mortal Kingbat. It was so much fucking fun.
I'm super bummed it's only on the Patreon, because
I
you
know.
guys, it was a really fun romp.
It was
It
one of our
really
most
was.
fun hints.
It really
episodes
was.
in a while.
I'm like, Mike was like, I feel like he had like FOMO, because he was
Oh,
like, it sounded like you were having like a lot of fun in there. And I was like,
Oh, well, we were. And I mean, I'm sure we'll unlock it at some point, but right now that is a
Yes.
Patreon exclusive. So check it
Yes.
out. You can also find me coaching the girls on the boys. Rachel and I and Mac just talked about Supergirl. A lot of thoughts there. Sammy, where can listeners find you?
You can find me at SRK Doll on Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd, and then over on the Losers Club socials and our socials.
And Shelby, where can listeners find you?
You can find me on socials at Shelby B. Novak on Instagram. And you can find me on the Scary to Sleep podcast every Friday and the Bloody Disgusting podcast every Wednesday.
And Rachel, where can listeners find you?
Find me on Instagram at the Vinyl Girl, and on Halloweenies, it's all Evil Dead stuff this month. We're going back into the woods. So yeah, Evil Dead Burn coverage and Evil Dead 2 commentary, and we're also doing a fun Ghost Watch rental. So that's always very
My
exciting.
favorite Evil Dead movie.
My favorite Evil Dead movie. I love that movie. So
I
excited
do
to talk about.
too.
Ooh. And that's it for our episode on Speak No Evil. Thank you so much to my esteemed panel and listeners. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for listening to us unburden ourselves.
I feel lighter.
I feel like this was an emotional one for us, you
I
know.
feel like my tits just lost a little weight, you know?
This is
Seriously.
one that I
Like,
wish we had been in the same room for. There's a
I
few
know.
sometimes
So we
where
could
I'm
hug
like,
it out after.
Yeah.
Hey, it's okay. You're better now.
And I feel like we
Yeah.
haven't really asked for a whole bunch of weird stuff from you listeners, but we want to know what you think. Do you
Pile it
like
on.
this
Put some
movie?
weird
We
shit in
really
the
did this
comments.
week. We were distracted. We were busy. We had things to
Yeah,
say.
We were.
Yes.
We were like, we got to get this off
I
our
was
chest.
feeling my feelings, okay?
Yeah.
But as always, we want to hear from you. We love hearing from you. We also have a Patreon, so check us out there. Lots
We got
of really
14
fun stuff.
members, guys. I'm actually
do.
like, whoa, guys.
Oh my
like,
God.
14
Hey,
of you
guys.
like us that much? Like, I just, man, I feel
I
like
know.
one day when we're like 20, I'm going to be like, whoa, hold the phone.
I know.
And we
Yeah.
also have a merch store, so
Yes.
check it out. Lots of fun stuff.
That's
And I heard
available
your
via the
pleas.
link in bio on Instagram.
Yeah, I
too,
heard
if
your
you can't
pleas
find it.
for hoodies and
Yes,
blankets.
we
blankets.
saw those. Yeah,
I want
They
a blanket
will-
too, Rachel. So
Okay.
They're coming. We can do
Okay.
it.
Okay.
just have a
Ask and ye shall
gigantic
receive.
cunt blanket. You
Yeah.
know, it says cunt in gigantic letters. We're classy
Careful.
down here.
I know.
I know. Yeah. Well, look. Last time we said we were going to have a bucket that just says "cum" on it. So you know,
Working on it. Yeah.
It's better
We're
than
working on
goodness.
it.
maybe we can
Yeah.
sell it as a combo. You know,
Yeah.
you get your blanket
Yeah.
and your bucket. You know,
Buy 2 cum buckets, get 1 free.
yeah.
It's a BOGO event.
Well, we are going to be back
Okay.
next week. This is going to be our last Vacation Gone Wrong, and it is a fucking banger. I cannot wait to
One of my
talk about
favorite
this
movies of all
movie.
time.
I was so excited. Same. I love
It's
it so
right.
much.
Lightening things up a little bit.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's gonna be a
yes.
little more
It's gonna
fun
be a
next
little
week, guys.
lighter. Yes,
Be
because
way
we're going
more
to be talking
fun.
about pre-Thor Chris Hemsworth again,
Mhm.
because we are going to a cabin in the woods
Yeah.
to talk about the cabin in the woods, not an
Hell
Evil Dead
yeah.
movie.
Not Evil Dead.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
maybe Evil Dead inspired, but yes.
Mhm.
So Cabin in the Woods is going to round out our Vacations Gone Wrong month. But until then, remember, ladies and ladies, support women's rights, support women's wrongs, and rabbits, you're on fucking thin ice.
Ninus.
Ninos!
Ninos!